Hello. This week is another one of those what to talk about type things because I've been kind of busy working on my nonprofit and getting that together. The update with that is I'm talking to a solar consultant and he'll get back with me with a quote. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess the kind of thing I do want to talk about is another like human behavior thing that happened to me this week, which I found kind of interesting. It's about two people that have no relation to each other and all that, but they kind of had the same issues and then gave me two different outcomes, which I thought was interesting. So one of them uh, unfollowed for no reason, and I reached out, because they're both, friends, so I can. I'm not trying to like reach out to strangers and be like, hey. But anyway, and I just wanted their feedback to better, you know, to have a better give the people better product, with the feedback they gave. And they never have answers. Both of them didn't have really legitimate answers. One had to do with what I was doing behind the scenes with asking for particular information, where I found that a lot of people um, assumed the worst and thought I was going to do these malicious things and stuff, because it had to do with like friends' information, even though I just wanted names, like just names, and that I didn't even want first names or last name. I didn't even want last names. I just wanted a last initial. But anyway, that was too much, and the right people asked me about them. Were inquisitive. What are you gonna do with the information? What's gonna happen? The wrong people seem to just get scared and try to fade away, try to not disrupt anything. They don't crap on you. They just kind of want to disappear. Anyway, I'm giving you more information than you had to. It's not like this person expressed any of that. It was just like, "Oh, this thing made me uncomfortable." So I sent a video, which I didn't send to her, but I sent to other people, and oh, okay. And she, I won her back, and I was like, okay. And that was interesting that I had to like win back a person, but all I was asking for is a simple follow, and I had to really argue for that one, or debate it, I should say. The second person, it was the same thing, and then he said, we just, he's like, I forgot the term he said, but it's basically like, I just didn't vibe with it. And that's the kind of human behavior that I want to talk about. When somebody reaches out to you and wants help and says, can you just follow? And then gives you other things you could do if you're a very helpful person, but you can easily just say no. That's not my thing. This is the extent that I want to help you. But there's a percentage of people, and I want to speak for people that are starting a business or whatnot. There's a percentage of people that humor you and then disappear months later. It's a weird tactic, but it's like I want to. Um, I guess they don't truly hear me out or hear what I'm trying to do or accomplish or even care. And then they disappear when they think they can, or when they're tired of me, or when they heard something, or when I posted something they didn't like and they just immediately disagreed. But we live in this world where instead of there being an open dialogue or people expressing their limits, we don't say anything. We only guess, and then we try to like ghost. And so if you look back in previous videos, you don't have to look back too far. I talk about a lot of things like ghosting and disappearing and human behavior, that's such, and it all kind of collects to this moment also. And it's just a weird thing because it kind of goes back to kind of a thesis that I'm trying to write. Not even like a thesis or paper, but just this idea that there are a lot of reasons why we aren't the most evolved species in the world. I would definitely say we are very still, we're very primitive. Um, there's a lack of communication and strength and unity that it would take to excel to a higher level. And there's just too much weirdness going on that hinders that. I mentioned how people, ideally, we need to live in a world where people need to just buck up and speak their piece. The salesman needs to, obviously have a thicker skin and, you know, hear the no's and all that. Um, Fair enough, if time warrants it, he should ask why there's a no or something like that. People, is the give and take of the conversation of the salesman and the customers, that the salesman should have a right to know why, you know, if time permits, and the customer should be able to acknowledge that, have the strength or the boldness just to say it. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to follow this path. I don't like what you're doing, or this or that. But we don't. We live in this kind of like, I don't want to hurt your feelings kind of thing, and it just becomes a very awkward situation. But I've learned a lot about human behavior this week, and just like, there are just people that will stop. They'll say they'll help. They'll say they care. They say they understand the extent of what you're trying to do, and then they just never give you an answer of why they stopped. Um, People in my life have told me, well, maybe they just didn't, they weren't invested to begin with. Well, yeah, you know. What I did is I asked everybody in my community if they could help out. And when you ask everybody, you're obviously going to be hitting a lot of people. And a lot of those people are not going to care whatsoever. But it's just interesting because you get the ones that say yes, you get the ones that say no, and those are like the things you think you're gonna get. But then you get the ones that humor you, and that's an interesting middle ground that I found. And so yeah, I was just like, okay. So I won one over and I lost another, but throughout the week it was, I guess, a positive experience because then I gained a few more just from you know time. But yeah, it was just one of those human behavior things, and like therapists and psychiatrists and all those people that I know in that field, like they don't have answers. They just, chalk it up to just you don't know what's going on in those people's lives and what they're doing, and that they're not truly invested, and that you also have to explore more, really throw it out there and put it out in detail. But yeah, so it was just an interesting week in that you know interesting in that sense. That's the word I was trying to look for. But yeah, so I hope it wasn't too vague. I try to respect. I'm not going to throw out names or shame anybody. Um, I hope it wasn't too vague. Obviously, future self will be like, "What? When was that? I don't remember that." I should log all this stuff. But anyway, yeah. So thanks, and that's today.